wonderful, wonderful guest and a wonderful co-host tonight. My guest this evening is Bill Brown, and let me get you his bio here. William Bill Brown, civil engineer, retired, Gizatologist, specialist. Bill is a retired civil engineer technician specializing in engineering, site plan design, layout, utility designer for over 35 years. His engineering expertise has helped him in formulating a master plan design layout of the Giza Plateau, Egypt, showing how tombs and temples may have been located on the ground. He has been instrumental in decoding and bringing forth the ancient secrets of Giza and the Egyptian pyramids. He was personally interviewed, excuse me, on site at Giza, Egypt in March 2006 by the USA National Geographic's film TV crew, which has now been shown on TV numerous times internationally since 2007. The Discovery Channel TV show has also shown some of his research information discoveries about Giza. His first publication book, entitled The Giza Report of 2008, excuse me again, Archaeological Projects of Egypt, released in 2009, summarized his 3 years of research from 2005 to 2008, investigations based on an official Egyptian authority SCA authorized ground penetrating radar, which is GPR scan, images at 9 locations of the Giza Plateau, Egypt, in February of 2006. Copies of the publication were given to Egyptian agents during one of his April of 2009 presentations at the Cairo University Department of Archaeology. He has given dozens of international presentations concerning the results and his research. Recently, his latest publication, Information About Giza, appeared in an archaeological publication, Ancient Mysteries and Advanced Archaeology Review magazine, monthly issue September-October of 2016, giving details about the Osiris tomb under the Sphinx, Causeway, and 2006 GPR image scan information. His next scheduled book publication will appear at the Giza Hologram. That's really interesting. It's a 250-page research project, documentation about he and his wife, Lucia Lobos Brown, 10-year research concerning the Giza Plateau tombs related to his previous books and GPR scans. New tombs might be discovered in the future based on a specially designed, formatted celestial star-to-ground map correlation theory. Publication is scheduled for early of 2017. Bill is also a vibrational scientist and master designer of sacred geometric structures. His website is pavilionsmartdesign.com, and you can access all of his information there, releases all kinds of wonderful information about a whole new way of healthy living. It's quite the honor to have Bill on my show tonight. So please welcome Bill Brown. And also, I would love to introduce my wonderful, lovely co-host who has her own show here called Nightlight at Revolution Radio. Barbara Delong is going to be co-hosting along with me tonight. So welcome both.
Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. What an impressive bio.
Yeah, that's I've been doing this stuff for, basically 20 years, 53 trips now to Giza over the past 14 years. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. How wonderful is that? That's a magical life, isn't it?
It really is. I retired in 2005 out of Washington, D.C. area, and I've been doing this full-time just myself. I don't work for anybody except for upstairs.
Wonderful. That's the best way to go. Well, let me ask you one question here. And Barbara, you chime in whenever you feel guided to. But I wanted to ask you about the Giza Plateau and how you made the correlation with star maps.
Well, it started with Robert Bauval and John Hancock with the Orion belt theory. And many other writers like them took a special constellation and kind of matched it with known locations. And since I'm a site plan engineer, I understand the ground, and especially topographics, and things can be buried, but a sand dune might be very, very high, which is an indication that something might be there. So after about, 10,000 hours of just running computer scans of star systems, my latest book that's out now that I'm using with Barbara on our meditation selections, I have about 33 different sites that we've been able to match a specific star code alignment to it. Not using just one star of Orion, but using about 20 star systems that match it perfectly.
That's incredible.
And so, it's coming out in the book. I hope to publish it. We're re-editing it a couple of times, and I have another trip to Giza coming up very, very soon, and we might even do a meditation from there while I'm there.
Oh, how beautiful. Wow.
Yeah.
Barbara, chime in anytime.
Oh, no, his story is phenomenal. And when he was a guest on my show, he was talking about his map, and he said that he would make it available to anybody that wanted to go to Giza and look at these sites and feel the energy and everything. And I said to him after we had our break, I said, not many people can go to Giza 52 or 55 times.
Right.
But I said, what if you just astral traveled there? And the next day, I talked with him, and he said, that blew my mind. He said, how would you do it? And I said, well, you'd put a group together and you'd do a group meditation. He said, can you do that? And I said, I can always put a group together. And that's how the Star Points meditation started. And though I have led meditations for at least, I had them once a week for at least 20, 25 years. These meditations are so unbelievably different from the ones that I used to lead that it's really been blowing my mind in that, first of all, it's a group energy, so that even though the people are all over the world, and sometimes they're not actually physically there, but they've committed their energy, so I can link to their energy and draw it together and create a group energy, and then take them into the energy, the places that he has pinmarked for us, and lead people through a meditation within whatever structure it is. Oftentimes, sometimes it will be above ground, but mostly it's been beneath ground that we've gone, and without telling them what to expect, leading them through experiences that will enable them to experience whatever in their level of consciousness they see. And because they are a part of the group energy, everybody's energy is increased dramatically. So these have been amazing meditations, and they only go 15, 20 minutes, and then we talk a little bit about them. And I think the most fun for me so far, they've all been fun, was that at one point in this corridor or hallway, wherever we were, I said, there are tiles with handprints on them, and I had people put their handprint in and then get sensations and stuff like that. And so after the meditation, we were talking about that, because there was a physical reaction with everybody I talked to. I said to Bill, what did you feel? And he said, Bill?
Yes.
Go ahead. You go ahead and tell him. 3 fingers?
Yeah. And
anyway, I felt like Spock. How the Spock has the 3, 2 fingers together, so it really only looks like 3 fingers. And I actually saw my hand like that, but there were only 3 fingers. There weren't 5, and they fit directly into these notches. So, actually, what I was actually feeling, I was making the connection that it's live long and prosper type of a philosophy. And so this was kind of like the energy of what I was feeling of this live long and prosper.
What color were you, Bill?
I'm green.
Very interesting.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
So, we do this serious meditation, and he turns up green with 3 fingers. So,
hey, maybe that's his one of his multidimensional designs. You never know.
Oh, well, it is. What I'm going to try and get Barbara to do is, she says that she tries to tell people, like, look down at your feet or something, to look at the ground. And so I'm going to suggest to her the next place that we go to is that we have a pool of water. I'm going to say, look in the pool of water and see yourself.
Oh, cool.
That's wonderful.
That would be very interesting to see who you are, where you are, or when you are.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm finding that we're not only hitting people's past lifetimes, but other dimensions as well in these meditations. So
that's what I think. And it's interesting when you said the handprint. The first thing that came to mind for me was an access to another dimensional realm. In other words, it's like reading another Akashic or another record of what's behind the scenes there.
Do the meditation, because you'll find it interesting.
I love it. I've been catching up with y'all on the meditations, and I encourage. I guess it's too late for people to join now. Is it? Or
no.
Okay, great.
All they have to do is send me a request at barbaradelong@gmail.com. The archives and the actual meditation is done as a private show, so you have to be given the address in order to be able to get the information we send and to be present. But it's free, so we just want people to send take notes and give us their impressions and send them to us so that we can put them together. Go ahead.
One of the things that I'm doing is I'm actually selecting these locations, and I've actually been to all these places that we're talking about, and I know what's there physically, and so I'm waiting to see if any of the people are writing and defining something that I know is there. And it actually happened on the very first meditation. That they were able to say blah blah blah, this room or this passageway or something. And I'm looking for confirmation because I go to there all the time. I mean, I do the astral travel and OB and all that stuff, and it's hard to distinguish when you go somewhere whether it's physical 3D Earth time now or on some other dimension. Right. So we're trying to see, what other people see.
Right. I remember the first time I did that was the first one. I got a lot of data. I mean, I don't know, it is what it is, but it was interesting. It's very interesting when you start getting information. So,
I was reading your comments and I was being blown away. And then, you wrote to me. So it was interesting. There's a link somewhere. Don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't that? And I have so many questions for you tonight. And of course, we're, Barbara, you just go ahead and run and roll with whatever information you want to as well. But I wanted to ask you about, because we were discussing the Giza Plateau, but what is the story with the ground penetrating radar? And can you share any of those findings at all?
Yes. In 2006, we did 9 different site plan locations. We actually worked with the Egyptian authorities under an approved plan, and the Egyptian technicians did all of the work with their equipment. And then with my association with university out of Poland, and my wife is Polish, we live in Poland half the time and in Chicago the other half. And I got married. I met my wife in Giza in 2006 when we were actually doing the GPR scans. So it took about 3 years to analyze everything, and I published it in the first book and gave it to the Egyptians. And some of those scans have been actually shown on the international TV, and people don't really understand what it is, and the Egyptians don't want anybody to know. So that's what my books are all about.
Tell her about how they would let you scan, especially in the causeway between the Khafre pyramid and the temple, how they wouldn't let you scan in certain areas.
Yeah, we started at the causeway up at the near the second pyramid, and then scanned it all the way down to almost to the backside of the Sphinx. But when we would get into certain areas, they would stop, leave about 10 to 20 feet, and then start up again. And so I was actually able to put all of that together over 10 years with other information that I knew and on-site visits. And so we now know why. And when we first started the very first time in March of 2006, we set up everything, and they set up their computer scans. The computer just shut down.
Wow.
Whatever it was, I was actually there. I actually saw the computer. I actually saw the image of what they were scanning, and then somebody or something shut it down, and they had to recalibrate all of their equipment and come back the next day and start all over again.
Wow.
So there's and your name is Solaris. You go by Solaris?
Correct.
Okay. The Solarian, ancient Solarian temple is in that area.
I didn't know that.
And, it's about 30 meters underground. We actually have the total scan.
Oh my goodness! It's 30 meters underground.
Yeah. Most of the stuff is about 30 meters down. And I actually met around 2006 or 7, sometime that time period. He was the drummer for the band Grateful Dead out of California. He was very high spiritual, and he took me around and showed me a lot of stuff and explained things. And I met dozens and dozens of people that had information of their own private, and so I've kind of like summarized some of that and validated using their information and my information.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's what we did with, the latest one right now is the GPR scan on the southwest corner of the Great Pyramid, where the Japanese have been working for 10 years now at the solar boat. And so that's a very, very interesting. I'm waiting for the information to go public on it from the Egyptians, but they haven't said anything yet. But they did find another room, and one of my star points that I'm working on right now identifies one of the rooms on the northeast corner of the Great Pyramid, but Egyptians still haven't released anything yet. It takes about 2 to 3 years to get it to go public.
Is that right? And do they censor?
Censor? They censor so much that you know, when you see the real information, you see what they publish. They censor a lot.
Yeah, so basically we're not getting hardly any data, probably. Go ahead.
Right. They won't publish my information from my books, but I have.
Wow. Well, when is your new book coming out? I can't wait.
Well, it's in reprint. I self-publish. I don't, really publish it through the publication system. And we're trying to get it on the website. I'm going to Washington next weekend, and I have a partner out there that does a lot of my work for me for movies, and we're going to do another filming of some of the information that I have for the book. So until it's really cleaned up, it'll probably be later this fall when I actually go back to Giza.
Oh, that's going to be beautiful. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, but right now everything's coming out on the Facebook. I'm actually publishing them page by page on my Facebook.
I know. I've been following you like a troll.
Yeah. Right. And so
it's great.
You're actually seeing the book.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and hopefully we're gonna. Yeah, I'm hoping that we're going to get some 3 to 5 minute movie clips, maybe 3 or 4 of them, that'll kind of summarize sections of the book. But some people in Egypt on my last trip are doing some stuff for me, and we are trying to get National Geographic involved again and stuff like that. So until that happens, I really can't release anything.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question about the measuring of frequencies? Have you ever measured any of the frequencies emitting from the Great Pyramid or any of the other locations perhaps you have?
I haven't personally, but I have friends that have the equipment that have done it, yes. And one of them was out of California, and we found an energy field emitted directly from the Great Pyramid, and it has a 7.44 mile radius.
Wow.
The energy can be actually picked up, and they picked it up in 12 different locations in a great circle around the Great Pyramid, which goes all the way down to in the Memphis area.
Oh my goodness!
So each one of the pyramids, they're actually relay stations. They're actually, energy, and so the energy from the Great Pyramid, is connects to another pyramid all the way down the Nile. And pyramids all around the world are connected like that. So, yes, they are very, very powerful. I know the one in Bosnia is probably one of the most ancient of everything. And I did a conference here in Chicago last year, pyramid conference, and I got to meet I can't remember his name, but the discoverer of the
Dr. Sam.
Bosnia. Yeah, Sam. Yeah. And I got to talk with him, and I never met him before. We sat down for dinner for the first time next to me, and so he asked me my comments, and I'm going how old is it? And he was saying he got up and told everybody he was 32,000 years old, and I said it was 36. And
wow.
I never read any of it. Yeah. So
nice.
This is where we're going back to. Yeah, I actually take Giza back to 52,000. So.
Do you really? Where do you get that from? What your Akashic records, or how are you getting that data?
Everywhere.
Okay. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you say
Yeah.
they're relay stations, these pyramids, does that mean that they're interconnected? The pyramids are interconnected in Egypt, but are they interconnected globally, all the pyramids?
Yes, and most of the pyramids we don't even know about.
Okay. Fascinating.
Yes, they are
Wow.
connected. Yes, and they are also stellar. They're also cosmic connections, and on other dimensions.
That makes sense. How powerful is that? Hidden in plain sight, but not really hidden.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about them. We go to school and we learn about, the Great Pyramid, and we learn about King Tut's tomb, and then they go on to something else, and they don't really go into the energetics. They don't go into the purpose of them. They just kind of breeze over them, and I find it fascinating, Bill's work, because he's putting extra dimensions literally into the purpose, the meaning, and the use of these pyramids. And they're all over the world. They're underwater, and they're underground, and we kind of look at them. I look at them so differently now because, of course, I played with the chambers with Patrick for a number of years. And again, we haven't really discerned their true meaning, but scientists have moved on and put them in a cubby hole, and, they're tombs, and, we'll go on to something else. But that's so wrong.
I agree.
Well, it's to wake up the people like us to a recognition and a memory of what they were before, and now to start and activate them now. Okay, and it doesn't take a whole lot of people to get involved. And if we can do this, internationally, like we're doing with Barbara, and more people coming on, and you get the awareness out there. That awareness actually makes the shift and makes more information known, and thousands of people know stuff. And once we can communicate it verbally, I think that's what will wake up to the next dimension.
I agree.
Yeah,
and that's why I build them. I actually build the structures, and I understand how they actually work. So
I know. I saw your website. It's incredible. We have to talk about that later. Yeah. Really awesome.
I think one of the greatest things about this whole thing is that, first of all, when you put something out like this, just the people that are meant to be there will be there or will become involved. And it's sort of like, the old Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. And what I'm finding is, first of all, combining all the energy, does something to all of us energetically. And then linking to vortexes and the energy that comes from these structures that we go into, there is a wake-up call. And it does, while we're getting information on his start points, absolutely, because of the combined energy, everybody is awakened to a different cellular level than before they did the meditations with us. And they're very simple meditations. They're led meditations. You don't have to do anything except listen. And what happens is, consciously speaking, I've spoken to a number of people that I know well, and I have found that since they've been doing these meditations, and we've only done 3 so far, their awareness and their perception and how they look at the world has changed dramatically.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm sitting here right now while y'all are talking, and right in front of me, I see a huge number of something on another dimension right here. So, follow you guys.
I don't know. I hope you don't see any weird horns and tails out of me. I'm pretty sweet.
No.
Let me know, will you?
But it's a way. It's those who are ready to have their consciousness expanded. The consciousness absolutely gets expanded.
I agree. It's a DNA activator.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and I actually opened the portals with the devices that I built in 1999. I actually had 3 small little Orion guys come through, walk straight through right in front of me.
Wow.
And I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff, and I was in denial for a long time.
Wow. Was that at your own place? I mean, where were these devices?
Well, when I lived in Virginia, I started building. I built a exact duplicate copy size and all of the capstone of the Great Pyramid in my backyard.
Wow.
And when I did that, we lived in the Blue Ridge Parkway area of Virginia, and my backyard was actually a portal, and I didn't know that I was opening a doorway into it. And so it was really cool. But at that time, in 1999, I got instructions. I was married for 25 years, 3 kids, everything, doing the American dream. In 1999 and in 2000, one night I had an experience, woke up the next morning, woke up next to my ex-wife now, and she looked at me and she said, she says, "Who the hell are you? You're not my husband." And I was divorced within the year.
Oh, my goodness. Was that a walk-in? What happened?
Yeah, it was a walk-in.
Interesting.
September 23rd, 1997. And it took me 10 years to figure it out. And Dr. J.J. Hartak and them were doing the exploration in the 3rd level of the Osiris tomb, the very first meditation we did. And they found this capstone underground, at the bottom of the ladder. And when they opened that, moved it, they released a lot of people.
I believe it.
Past life stuff, and I was one of them.
Wow, is that the Keys of Enoch? Is that Hertak?
Yeah,
the Keys of Enoch?
Yeah.
I love that.
I worked with him. Yeah, I worked with him a lot. I knew him very well.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Did you read that book, Keys of Enoch?
Well, yeah. I mean, yes. In fact, it was around 1998 or 1999. One of the Hopi elders sent by a courier from their tribe, sent the courier directly to me, and nobody knew anybody. And he met me in where I was living, and he says, "I have a book for you." And so I opened the book to one page, and I just read the one paragraph, closed it, and said, "Okay, that was my contract." And so the Hopi elder knew that. So yeah, I knew the book very well.
Yeah, they say the people that get that book are supposed to have it. That's why I asked.
Yes, that's correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've got it too, and I love that book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He's a super guy.
Very interesting.
And his wife Desiree also.
Mm. So interesting. I mean, that's the path. That awakening is really what we're here for. It's that multidimensional state of consciousness.
Yeah, as long as you don't get in your own way.
Right. Exactly. I think sometimes people overthink things, don't they?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'm building a lot of stuff in my shop right now in the garage, and I'm actually building it, and without even thinking, without any plans, I just do it. Mm-hmm. You get to this point where you don't even think anymore. You just create.
Nice.
Total creation without thought. You just do it. Mm-hmm. It's been pretty awesome. Been an awesome experience.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. I take it you probably had a lot of supernatural experiences at the Giza Plateau.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to put those in your book?
No, I really, I don't like to write stuff. I do it mostly in I do presentations every month and all over the world, in Europe and America and stuff, and in Egypt. So yes.
Wow.
I met ETs in Egypt. I met an ET. My very first ET in Egypt was in the Red Pyramid up in the third upper chamber, and he's walked through the wall.
Very interesting.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they're there. They're all in front of you. They're right in front of your nose, and basically, if you raise your vibration out of 3D, okay,
that's it.
Basically, get out of 3D beyond fourth as fast as you can, and fifth and above. You meet these people that are right in front of your nose on the same dimension. I mean, on the same, right next to you. You got,
Yeah.
So they're there.
Perfect
they're
sense.
there.
Modulating frequencies. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Have you ever looked into the Billy Meyer material with the contact reports and the Giza that he talks about, the Giza intelligence over there?
I've read it, but I didn't. I allow for everybody's ideas, but some of it didn't resonate with me because it wasn't me. It wasn't about what my task was. So, but yes, I do know them. I know I am aware of some of the things that they were saying and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just curious.
I accept everybody's, but some of it didn't resonate with me, so I didn't follow it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So when you investigate a site, what's the first thing you look for?
Wavy lines.
Really?
Energy.
Okay.
Energy. Yeah, I have the ability to kind of like see the vibrational, I call them tornadoes or whirlpools or something like that. When you actually walk into these areas, especially where we're taking the people on the Giza Plateau, where I've actually been there, and in 2006, I actually taught meditation to 25 Egyptians, and every Friday I would take them to a different site location, and you could actually walk underneath this little in between tombs, and you would like walk right between them, and as soon as you get on the other side of it, you could actually feel a coolness. So if you feel it, a little bit of a cooler or change in temperature, that's a power spot. And I met a guy from France, and we went over. He had a special instrument that he had invented, and we went from location to location, and we went. I'm just going to call him RADS, RADS. I don't know what his energy output name was, but I'm going to call it RADS. But we would like be at one spot. It would be like 100,000 RADS, which is just a reference point. And I would know that the energy is pretty cool, pretty neat here, but it's more powerful over here. And if you go like between the paws of the sinks, it's going to be a whole lot different. And we actually saw it go from 100,000 up over 1 million readouts, and so yes, so you can basically feel a temperature differential.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's really a dimensional doorway. And when we started building our structures, I did that. We built some in Germany, a friend of mine in Germany, and we built the very first one. It's just open wooden frame, just like you've seen on the website, and you can literally put your hand into the doorway before you walk in, something like out of Stargate, and you can literally put your hand through there and you could feel a difference in the temperature, and it's all open wooden frame.
How nice.
So we work with a special shaman who work with the crystals and stuff. And so when you go into these places, you are in another dimension. Literally.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, that's where we need to be.
And what I do is I don't tell anybody anything. I don't want to brainwash somebody into my ideas or something. And they ask me, how does it work? I'm going like, I don't know. You tell me. And everybody does that. They go in and they all tell me the same thing, how, what they feel and their experiences. So there's something going on. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Can I ask you if you ever got the impression that there was an inverted pyramid beneath the Great Pyramid?
Energetically, yes, but not physically.
Not physically, like a vortex?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the top of the pyramid creates clockwise and counterclockwise spin. So, it is defined with what we would call a mirror image. Right. But there is a lot of stuff underneath the pyramid.
That's interesting. You say the clockwise and counterclockwise because that's like anti-gravity.
Yeah. When you go down, it's anti-gravity. Yes, correct.
Yep, there you go. That's cool. I love this. This is so exciting. Yeah. I'm so blessed to be talking to you tonight. And I have to thank Barbara. She's the one who actually turned me on to who you were. So thank you, Barbara.
Oh, yeah. Totally my pleasure.
I'm telling you. Yeah. And there's a question in the chat for you. There's a question in the chat here from B. Radley. It's can Bill lay out a 101 understanding of the basics of trigonometry and how it correlates with the Giza pyramids? And the ancient Egyptians had a concept of that, it seems.
Well, the trigonometry that I use is sacred geometry, and I use the golden mean spiral and everything relating to the golden means. So that's what I call I don't call it trigonometry, I call it geometry. And so I've done lots of sacred geometric configurations on the ground. You can use what we call a Merkaba symbol, which is a double, pyramid. And literally, I can show you, and I have on some of my research, that each one of the points, apex points of the corners of the 6 points of the double pyramid actually define specific locations at the Giza Plateau.
Very nice.
The geometry, yes, and it's a fractal. If you take a fractal of it and reduce it down, it does the same thing.
Very interesting. So how do you define a fractal inside? What do you think a fractal is?
Fractal is a mirror image of itself.
Okay. Yeah. I wrote about the fractals in my book.
Yeah.
But go
Pardon?
ahead. No, I have a book that I wrote fractals in, but never mind. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's my understanding of it. Fractal is a picture of the whole.
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Wow.
That's a Mandela.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Geometry. Yeah. When I was in high school, I taught geometry to my geometry teacher. She couldn't teach me anything I didn't know, and so when I did the Flower of Life thing by Gonzalo Melchizedek, and I was so bored because I knew everything that he said. I'm going like, tell me something I don't know. Of course, I knew Gonzalo personally too, and worked with him when he was in the Washington D.C. area on stuff. So that he did a lot of that. And he was the first one to define the golden mean spiral at Giza, and that works. But I've come up with some geometries, which is actually what I call a triple golden mean spiral, and it's freaks some people out because I call it the 666 Revelation 666, and the 3 points of the belt of Orion actually creates this geometry, and everything on the Giza Plateau was defined by that. So
very interesting.
But it's a three-dimensional. It's not 3 dots in a row. It actually forms a V, which was what my finger was all about.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's in the book. I'm trying to put it out right now. If you look at the middle star of the belt star is way beyond, much farther back than the other two. It actually forms a V. And when you see the paintings of Michelangelo, like in the Last Supper, where they see the V between the Christ figure and Mary, there's a little V in there, and it shows up everywhere. So I call it my Orion symbol.
Very, very interesting. Yes, Orion's everywhere when it comes down to the pyramids.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I actually showed that the triangulation of the front door of the White House to the Washington Monument to the Jefferson Memorial is identical. Identical layout. And so is the Capitol and the Lincoln Memorial.
My goodness,
so
that's powerful.
Yeah, the French architect that laid out all of Washington, D.C., did all those configurations. And that was part of the Masons and their secrets.
They knew what they were doing. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, yeah.
Any comments, Barbara?
No, I love listening to him talk.
Me too. I know.
I found it interesting that the Flower of Life that you spoke of it was one of my paintings that I painted gazillion years ago. But that pattern is a very powerful pattern.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've actually somebody actually carved it into the wall at the Sphinx. I've actually seen it there. So you have to know where to go. But it's somebody actually. I don't know where they carved it or it was just there, but we show it to some people when we go there. It's on the left paw of the Sphinx.
Interesting. So with the Sphinx itself, they talk about the was it Rosetta Stone beneath the Sphinx? So what is your impression of that?
Yes.
Okay. Is it black and shiny?
Actually, what happened was in the last meditation we did was called Campbell's Tomb. And Campbell's Tomb was all about the Masons and all the secret rooms that were underneath from the gaining access entrance from the Sphinx. And in 1837, the French actually went in and they poured thousands of tons of concrete into the belly of the Sphinx to fill up one of the rooms
Oh, wow.
to prevent access. But there's a dozen ways of getting in. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what
Well,
my underground, my book's all about. And the star patterns actually fit the pattern. The Greeks, Thoth was supposed to have been around during around the Greek time period, and those star charts and how everything is configured in the sky is actually shows you the underground pathways that I've confirmed and I've crawled inside, so I know they exist.
mm-hmm.
And so there is a tunnel from the Sphinx Temple into the Sphinx, physical one.
Very interesting. Yeah. So the ancient technologies, and besides what we see as a structure, have those been confiscated by the Egyptian government? Anything that was there prior to any regular excavators?
Yes. Well, the tomb robbers, the Egyptians took anything the tomb robbers didn't get.
Okay. Wow.
Yes.
So it's been gutted,
They
I'm
don't
sure.
expect. Well, I mean, you can go into the museums. It's kind of like the underneath the Pentagon, type thing. There's lots of things that people don't understand what they are. You can see some of the devices that are stone and whatever, and they're harmonics. It's all about harmonics and frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And those of us who work with that, we recognize it, but the rest of the world, they don't know what's going on. It's in front of their nose.
Right. It's geometric light language to some degree, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Yes.
Bill, aren't there some rooms and chambers that have not yet been uncovered in a lot of these tombs?
Oh, yeah. When in 2003, my very first trip to Giza, to Egypt, I traveled up and down the Nile on the cruise ship, and I actually went to Valley of the Kings and into the Tomb of King Tut. And in the Tomb of King Tut, I was all by myself. They locked the doors, gave me an hour there of free meditation, and I actually got to go and meet with Tut on another dimension. And we actually went into 7 rooms in his tomb. And the Japanese have just now gone public that they found 3 more new rooms. I'm going like, well, there's 7 of them, guys.
Wow.
How
nice.
And you can actually go to the internet and see where they found these extra rooms. And I think they're only showing 6 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot, they didn't count them, but there are 7.
Very interesting.
And there's 7 everywhere. When you go into the Tomb of Osiris on the middle chamber, there's 7 sarcophagus in there. 2 of them only in there, and they took the other 5 somewhere.
Very interesting.
Well, 7.
Yeah.
7.
That's the number of the initiate,
7's the
though, so that makes
number.
sense. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And they were chambers of initiation.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I know.
That's what it makes sense.
Somebody said on the very first channeling when I was crawling down inside the Tomb of Osiris, it took me 5 years to be able to get into it, and an hour to get down to the bottom. And I once I got to the bottom, I wanted to get out of there as fast as I could.
Really?
So it was a past life. It was a past life memory. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I've always called it the transfiguration of the atom, the pyramids, that it basically is about immortality, but literally becoming into light body Merkaba. Yeah.
Correct.
Very powerful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very.
It's fascinating. I love it. Wow. So I bet you're excited to go back.
Yeah, I kind of miss it. With the revolution kind of like stopped everything. I was going like 2 and 3 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
But with the revolution, it took me years to get back.
Where'd you go?
Okay.
Oh, you were just breaking up a little bit there.
Okay.
Might be your energy field. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You're cranking light or something. But so let me ask you something. When you arrive in Egypt, how does the government treat you? Are they okay with you doing the type of work that you're doing? Obviously, they must be by now.
They leave me alone.
Excellent.
Everybody leaves me alone. In fact, I have a reputation. I earned a reputation walking around Giza. Everybody saw me coming. They all ran.
Oh, really? That's great.
Yeah, because I wouldn't take anything off of them, and basically what they were saying was not true, and so I didn't have any problem speaking my mind about it.
Oh, that's
So,
wonderful.
and I know many, many, many people, and I'm totally guarded and safe when I go there. So, the police follow me. I mean, I was arrested like 5 times, but
Why?
not because I was in places I wasn't supposed to be.
Oh, is that right? So you mean you were just kind of nosing around?
Well, I was doing my research, and
Okay.
and I was there with a camera, and I'm going like I'm taking pictures, and they're going like, "You're not allowed to be here." I said, "I got a ticket. It's open space." And they said, "Yeah, but you can't go here, and you can't take pictures." And it was outside. It was outside.
Oh.
But I have been down underground too. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you have a special guide for that? Well, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, I have special people that take me places. Yes.
And you said the energy was it very intense?
So intense. I've been in places that they had to carry me out of there. I almost had a heart attack.
Really?
So yeah,
wow.
That intense. Yeah, that intense. Of course, it was underground. So talk about it.
So when you were underground, let me ask you something. Is there obviously what's the air quality like?
Very, very thin.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, and dusty. Thin
it
and
is.
dusty.
Okay.
Yeah. And hot.
Is it?
So it's supposed to be cool.
Yeah, I was curious about the ventilation because I thought they had some kind of special ventilation.
Yeah,
really?
There is none. Yeah. I mean, where I go, they have no fans.
Well, it kind of makes you wonder at that timeline what they were using for suits to be able to deal with that type of a temperature then if they were constantly in those tunnels.
I think they operated on a little bit different frequency than we are.
Makes sense. Yeah. And what about the water that runs underneath it?
It's everywhere. They spend millions of dollars to put in these water pumping systems, and they haven't lowered the water at all. Basically, what they're doing is I did a research. Hydraulics was one of my specialties as an engineer, and I kind of figured out where all the pumps were and everything, and they were actually over top of all the underground temples and tombs that are underground filled with water, and they're actually pulling the water out of those tombs and temples.
My goodness. Very, very interesting. Yeah. It seems like it was easy to transport things through the water. The tunnels underneath.
Well, yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, not when they're completely, flooded. 100% full. They had to drain it down so there's at least 50% full. And yeah, they do. They do. In the tomb of Osiris, the water level in the tomb of Osiris on the 3rd level is the same height as the water underneath the Sphinx.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? You think there's some correlation?
Well, the ground that's the groundwater level at based on the level of the Nile River. Okay, so the whatever the elevation of the Nile River is, that's the same as what's underground in Giza. And so they call it drawdown. They try and pull it down in specific areas so they can work in that.
Wow, that's fascinating. I tell you what, I'm really interested in this this whole Giza Plateau and everything else. And Barbara, if you have anything to add, just chime in.
Oh, no, I mean, Bill has so much wonderful information to share. It's a pleasure to listen to him. And, every now and then he sneaks something in that came up in a meditation that he didn't tell me ahead of time. So he's pretty crafty. But I think it's really fascinating because it comes out anyhow in the meditation. And there have been a couple of ones, this last one especially, where I kind of had an idea as to where we were going and how we were getting there. And it totally, while I had control of it, I lost control of direction, which is unusual for me because this is something I've done for a long time.
Wow. Do you mean do you think that might have been because you're in another multidimensional space?
Yeah. I had not anticipated that. I mean, I'm getting used to it now, so it's not such a big thing for me. But the fact that this is a different kind of energy than I've dealt with before has been fascinating. And every now and then, You know, when you do a channeled meditation, you just let it go. So every now and then, you know, my eyebrows would go up with what did I just say?
Oh, how funny.
And
Really?
so it's been fun for me as well. I have to go back and listen to them and do them, because when you're leading a meditation, you're making sure that you have everybody's energy together so that everybody's safe.
Right.
And so I have to go back and do the meditation in archives so that I can experience what everybody experienced.
You know what's interesting? The first time around, I didn't even listen to the meditation. I just ran with energy because I could plug in. So it's really cool. Yeah. But I like the meditation zone. We're going to have a break, everybody. You're listening to Ravenstar's Witching Hour. I am your host, Solaris BlueRaven. We have wonderful guests tonight, so stay tuned. We'll be right back with Bill Brown and Barbara DeLong. Stay tuned.